All right, let's do this.
Welcome first-time listeners and returners to the Sports Deli, where everyone deserves a seat at the table, especially our next incredible guest. So grab your favorite deli sandwich or bagel and your favorite beverage, and let's do this together in the Sports Deli. On this day in 1992, apartheid in South Africa was abolished. And today, 30 years later, on St. Patrick's Day, we welcome Christian Okoye to the Sports Deli Podcast. We are so honored that the Nigerian Nightmare, who hails to us from Enugu, Nigeria, has joined us today. And today, you will hear the rest of the story. He played soccer until he was 17 and was a sprinter and thrower on his high school track and field team. He played his college football at little-known Azusa Pacific University in Southern California, where he was also a 7-time champion in the shot put, discus, and the hammer throw, and was actually on a track and field scholarship while at Azusa, not a football scholarship. Even though he only played football for 3 years, because he was omitted from his country's track and field team for the Olympics in 1984, he decided to focus on football, and he was rewarded by being the 35th pick in the 1987 draft by the Kansas City Chiefs because of his downhill, powerful, straight-ahead style of running and ability to break tackles. He played for the Kansas City Chiefs from 1987 to 1992, and had injuries not derailed him, he was headed for the Hall of Fame, in my opinion. He was the NFL rushing champ in 1989. First team All-Pro that same year, and made 2 Pro Bowl appearances in 1989 and 1981, along with 3 playoff appearances. He shares a birthday with Madonna and was born the same year as Dennis Rodman, Wayne Gretzky, Eddie Murphy, Michael J. Fox, Princess Diana, George Clooney, Meg Ryan, Billy Ray Cyrus, George Lopez, Lawrence Fishburne, and the 44th President of the United States, President Barack Obama. He's a girl dad like me, as well as a boy dad. And in 1990, he founded the Christian Okoye Foundation to help underprivileged children assume their role in society through education and sports. He was inducted into the Kansas City Chiefs Hall of Fame, and he's in the California Sports Hall of Fame. You can find him on Instagram at Christian Okoye. Okoye is Okoye. At Christian Okoye 35, the number 35, where he has nearly 35,000 followers, and on Twitter at Christian Okoye, where he has nearly 11,000 followers, and on his website at christianokoye.com. Christian, truly honored. I'm glad we were able to finally work things out. I know you're in the middle of doing a book, and you're busy playing golf. Truly excited. I remember watching you play back in the day, and the way that you had your shoulder pads was different than anyone that I ever remember. Like the neck part was up higher than the shoulder pads, and man, you would just punish defenders. I loved it. Oh man. So welcome to the Sports Deli Podcast, where everyone deserves a seat at the table, especially the Nigerian Nightmare. Yeah, I'm very excited. My Michigan Wolverines won their first round game. So love March Madness. We had Carl Mecklenburg on. I'll ask you this first question because he was an interesting person to have on. And, you know, he talked about how he doesn't think he could play nowadays just because of the way that both you and he played on opposite sides of the ball. You know, and how training camp used to be, and, you know, the need for the physicality, even though that led to a lot of issues with, you know, head trauma and things like that. But what are your feelings about how the game is now, you know, versus when you grew up, you know, in Nigeria?
Well, you have to understand, I grew up in Nigeria, so I favor the way the game is today.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I wish it was this way when I was playing.
Yeah.
I could have played for 15 years.
Yep.
You see? So people like Carl played football right from when he was little bitty. You know, so he was used to that kind of football, that kind of violence.
Yeah.
And I was not.
Yeah.
I played the way I played because that's the only way I saw it fit. And today, I really admire the athletes today. I admire the players today because, you know, they got it good.
no matter who we speak to, I've, I had Rick Barry on the show, Hall of Famer, from the NBA and other people that laid the foundation for people like you, Doug Williams and other people. Bill Curry was on the show, played for Vince Lombardi. And, they talk about, the NFL, but back then in so many different ways, not just charter flights, and being pampered and those types of things. And the different styles of play, like you just talked about, with Carl versus what it is now. Do you think that the players now really have an appreciation of what it was like back then?
I don't think they do.
Yeah.
I don't think they do because, the money they're making today kind of overshadowed some stuff,
Yeah.
But I think some of them do, some of them do. I really appreciated one time that I was in Tennessee for the Chiefs game against the Titans, and standing over there, I never met Travis Kelce before.
Mm.
And he was doing his drill, warming up with the team and stuff. And he left the field and ran towards me just to shake my hand and give me a hug and say, "Very great to see you, nice to meet you," and stuff. And that's the respect, and that respect, we gave it to those who came before us. People like, Eric Dickerson played before me, and I played with him. And I look up to him. He's a friend of mine. Jim Brown, I know him real well. I looked up to him and I still worship him till today. He's one of the guys that I watched his film when I played. Walter Peyton, when he was alive, I worshiped him, because those are the guys that I learned the game from. Jim Taylor, the former running back for Green Bay Packers. I mean, the first time I met him, I was like a kid in the candy store. I don't see that going on today with football players today. I don't know what it is, but I can just attribute it to the amount of money they are making. It overshadows some stuff. When I played, I tore my bicep, and I didn't even know it was torn. I played the whole season. It was discovered in the postseason physical. Today, if you tear your bicep, you're gone for the year.
Right.
So that's just the few differences I can pinpoint.
It's interesting because in baseball, we know our history, maybe because we call it America's pastime, even though it's not. It's as racist as a sport as there is. And basketball, we know our history, and it's emphasized. And so I think the NFL has a lot of issues,
Yes.
and that's one of them. And normally I don't talk about this so early, but I'm going to talk about it now because I want to transition from Jim Brown. And he's been in a long list of activists in the NFL and in tennis, whether it's Arthur Ashe, Muhammad Ali, and many, many others, and Colin, most recently in the NFL. And I just want to ask you, because I'm on a think tank with Hugh Jackson called Enough. And so the objective is to put pressure on television and franchises, because you know as well as I do that along with social media and with lawyers is the only way that you're going to get things changed, whether it's with the Commanders or the Cleveland Guardians in baseball. That's the way that things get changed. And so the NFL did a lot of lip service. The owners run the league, and Roger Goodell is just a puppet.
Yes.
And I think he's done as much as he can. But
yes.
Are you frustrated that all we see is end racism on the back of the end zones 5 years after Colin took a knee and got white-balled from the NFL? And then there's stuff on the back of the helmets. And I'm going to have a follow-up question about some of the white quarterbacks. But what are your thoughts on where the direction of the NFL is going?
They are gradually getting better, but they are not halfway there.
Yeah.
They're not halfway there. And we talk about it all the time when I get together with my friends. Even last night, we talked about it. It's about racism, about being greedy, all of that. NFL seemed to be taking a backseat to, even hockey. baseball, basketball. NFL is the last one that hasn't caught up yet, and they make the most money. People don't realize how much money NFL owners make, and the veterans don't even have health insurance.
Right.
And this is the most violent game out there. Yeah. And the veterans don't even have health insurance. They bank on when he turns 65, he can get Medicare, and government can take care of you. Instead of just setting out a budget that says, okay, this is going to take care of the health insurances for the retired players. And that's what the players were asking for in the beginning. That's all. Don't pay us more. Just, cover our injuries that we sustain when we're playing, when we're promoting your business. You see? So
Christian,
it's
not happened. And I've heard Mark Cuban talk about this, that he can't really move the needle, even though he's very wealthy in the space of basketball, and he's had conversations with NFL owners. But the thing that I'll say is there are strength in numbers. Would you agree?
Yes, I agree.
Sometimes. And so you saw the women of the WNBA, which is probably the least popular sport of all the major sports, including MMA. And they changed 2 elections in Georgia with a T-shirt, and they forced an owner out of the Atlanta Dream. And so I'll say this, and I've been and I'm a Michigan fan, and I was a Tom Brady fan for a long time until 2017. And I'm not going to just put it on him, but I don't understand for the life of me how they're so tone deaf. And I'm talking specifically about Tom, Eli, Peyton, and Blondie. I don't understand how those 4 guys have not done something to put pressure on the NFL and the owners to say, we're not playing, and gotten more players to strike with them to say, we're not going to tolerate this anymore. I just can't with those platforms. Tom, among all the other issues I have with Tom, he retires on the first day of Black History Month, and then he unretires on Selection Sunday. Besides some of the other tone, and I know you've taken pictures, you're friends with Peyton, like I get this stuff, but this, to me, this is bigger than football. And I don't understand how white allies, I am nobody. And I have been talking about this stuff for two and a half seasons, of this show. I had Jim Trotter on. I just had Drew Henson on, who played professional baseball and basketball and football with Tom at Michigan. And he said the only person that's ever asked that question that he's heard of that I just asked is his wife, who's white. Why is nobody putting pressure on those 4 guys to do more and say, we're not playing unless things get changed?
Well, that question needs to be placed on the Players Association. Players Association are not representing all players. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, I know.
And you have to understand how things are structured. Players Association, they don't have to do anything. They get money from advertisers. All these NFL sponsors also sponsor Players Association. So they get money on that side that doesn't affect players. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. I went to a doctor yesterday just to go get checked with all my surgeries and stuff. And we were talking, this doctor, I've known him for a long time. He did a back surgery on me in like 1994. And then did another back surgery 2 years ago. I went there to go get checked up, and he and I were just talking. We're friends. And he says, I was on NFL panel, medical panel or whatever. And I was only there for, I think, 2 years, he says. He says, and then they didn't invite me back. They didn't invite me back because I asked questions. And then I said, who didn't invite you back? He said, well, it's more on Players Association. Can you believe that? Our own people. If you talk to Eric will tell you, Eric and I will talk about it. Our own people are against us. So if your own people are against you, what do you think NFL owners are going to do?
So I understand that, protecting the brand of the current players. I understand that, but I'm talking about, how have you, I'm not putting the pressure on you, but I'm just saying, someone like you who's friends with Peyton and said, you got your show, you got your Monday night thing going on. Like, come on, man. Like we got to do more. Like, lock arms, come together and say, the NFL is going to do what they're going to do. The Players Association is going to do what they're going to do, but we're going to pay $1 million every week, raise the money. I don't care. And we're going to talk about systemic racism ourselves if the league's not going to do something about it. Like, I just, like, Tom makes hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah, he does.
And he's got a MAGA hat in his locker. And you know, that's what Jim Trotter said. Fine, but just stay out of the way if you're not going to be like Tom is part of the coalition. Wow. Congratulations, Tom. Behind closed doors, you're being such an ally.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have to. And I've been critical of Michael Jordan and Tiger Woods, you know, for similar things. But come on, man, this is a white issue. Like, what are you all doing? Like, for real, what are you four guys doing?
Yeah. It's one of those things when they're content, you know, they don't worry about others. It happens, and we all have our own faults. You know, that is their fault right
But
there.
after
And
5 years,
like you said,
I understood in the beginning when Colin kneeled and no one knew what was going on. But after 5 years, another Amir Locke was just killed. Another guy was just killed sleeping.
Yeah. It's you know, what you're saying right here, we talk about all the time, you know. So, and I hear you, and there's got to be a way that the owners can be, you know, shaken up a little bit.
Yeah, it's
so
called stoppage of play. It's called a stoppage of play. That's the way.
Stoppage of play. Yeah, you know, but it has to start with NFL Players Association. They are the ones who can, whoever is the director will have to stand up somehow and act like they're going to protect the whole league, even the white players, because if things are not right, nobody's
especially
happy.
The white players. But listen, back in the day, right? If you spoke out, you were whiteballed. Everybody was whiteballed. Sponsorships, your second contract, your third contract. And now when you speak out, it's more encouraged. But for some reason in the NFL, the most popular sport in America, and the people that speak out, JJ Redick, Rex Chapman, you know, some players, some owners, sort of, it's ignored because the playoffs were so good last year and the Super Bowl was so good because of a no-look pass. And so we're back to where we started again. Anyways, I know I'm preaching. I just don't understand, because if Tom and Blondie and Peyton and Eli, they said, I don't care what anyone else is doing, we're going to start a movement, and you're either on board with us or not, that they would find a way, and they would go play in the other league if the NFL didn't support them. Go play in the other league. If the NFL is not going to do the right thing and be on the right side of history. There's another league going on right now. Go play over there.
Yeah. You know, I hear you. And like I said, we discuss this all the time, and we can't just find a way to hold some of those top players, you know, accountable, you know, do something. I was involved in a strike in '87, my rookie year, and we didn't accomplish much. We should have accomplished a whole lot more, but we gave in, and we gave in too early. And these NFL owners back then, all of them were wealthy. They don't care how much money they're going to lose because they are wealthy other than football. Now, some of these owners hold their teams, like San Diego Chargers. The owners, the team is their business, you know. So if they lose about half a year's paycheck, it's going to hurt some. you know, but they always find a way to kind of cover it up because they kind of pass it on. They will start paying, they stop paying some of the employees that work and stuff, which is, Mark Cuban, as you mentioned, I like that guy. Before I didn't really, I'm not interested in, but throughout this time, he announced he's going to keep paying all the workers in the arena. And he did, which is remarkable. Not too many organizations did that. And that's how NFL owners should be doing. This is what I have in mind. If you have as much money as these guys have, there's no reason why you will play in a city where when you go to the inner cities, you see kids that don't eat, that don't dress up, don't go to school.
And the homeless.
And the homeless. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you gotta be able to do something to help the city that you're making billions of money from. I don't care how you make it. I don't care if sponsors from the hills pay you that money and the inner city don't. But you have the ability to go down there and at least organize, build a park, go and pay some people to paint the schools, buy computers for the schools, and these are people that support you, buy your jerseys and wear your jerseys all the time. They pay your bills.
How about offering your stadium for the homeless and to feed people during the off season? There's 8 days a year you use your stadium. How about the other 357, if my math is correct, days a year? How about you offer your stadiums like they did during the pandemic to feed the homeless and to help people? It's just remarkable. It's just remarkable.
That's got to be a way where they can help, the needy. I see, NFL chosen charity, every time something is done, they say this money is going to this organization,
United Way.
And it goes to some organization, not the city that you are
absolutely
playing in. People that pay you, people that buy all the jerseys that you sell. That's how part of your money, that's got to be a way, but it's not being done. They do it in a small way, but you got to do it in a big way. At least if you spend $500,000 a year in the inner city, a year, that would change the whole city. So, but it's not being done, and I hope one day a team owner will start doing something like that, and maybe the others can follow. But I don't see it happen anytime soon.
Yeah.
So I mean, we've watched Colin Kaepernick's case for a long time, and here's a guy that went to the Super Bowl, and all of a sudden he's out of the league. Just like that. Because he took a knee, and the guy that told him to take a knee came out and explained the reason why he took a knee, that he instructed him to take a knee
white military man.
Because sitting down is like disrespecting the flag. If you take a knee, you're not disrespecting the flag. And still, he's being punished, because they think he's not respecting the flag.
I still talk to people, Christian, today that do not understand that a white military man gave him that advice. Because they want to hear their own narrative, right?
Yeah, they're not interested in finding out why.
Right.
I mean, you can tell it to them many, many times, but they won't listen. They just know exactly what they do. And it's very unfortunate. It's like that in this politics that is happening right now. Democrats and Republicans and stuff. I mean, you believe what you believe in and you stick with it. You don't want to hear the other side. You don't want to hear the truth. So it's happening, but gradually, hopefully, I don't see it getting any better anytime soon, but I pray that it does.
Yeah. So you're from Nigeria, and in the 60s, if my history is correct, you guys gained independence from Great Britain. And so you have witnessed, like everybody else around the world, what's going on in Ukraine. And we've had a lot of things happen in the last couple of years, from the pandemic to the racial reckoning, to this. And what are your heartfelt thoughts about what's going on right now with this?
I was telling my friends, I said, many Americans are so fortunate, so fortunate. America is so fortunate. We are in this country, nothing affects us as far as war is concerned. All this suffering that is going on in other countries, we don't know it here. Everything happens so far away. Growing up in Nigeria, I went through war, civil war. So I see what war is like. I saw the ugliness of war. And nobody in this country today has seen that. All they do is they watch TV, they say, wow. It doesn't affect them because it's not in America. It's not one of their brothers or uncles or sisters and being shot at. So what's going on over there, you have to feel it by being there. You have to experience it to know how hard, how horrible that war is right now. Because a lot of times those soldiers coming in from Russia, they're just shooting because they have a license to shoot. You're not going to take them to jail, So they see people, they shoot. And destroying buildings and stuff. Are you kidding me?
Killing children, killing innocent children. Over 100 kids.
Yeah, you look at them. I mean, it's horrible. It's horrible. And I tell you, there's no amount of money America can send over there that will help, cover all the loss, all the sorrow. Whatever is going on over there, there's no amount of money that can cover it up. But I just hope and pray every day that this war just ends immediately, like tomorrow, just stops, because everybody in that country is suffering. I don't care who it is. It's affecting them, and it's affecting us here in our pocket, which is nothing compared to what they are feeling over there.
I remember after 9/11, I watched a lot of human interest stories because I wanted to really be immersed in what it actually was like for people that were directly affected by it. And I just saw something this morning about a guy, a dad, a husband, who found out about his wife and 2 kids being killed on a tweet. He saw
that this morning.
Saw the kids in a photograph and knew that his family was killed because of a bomb or a missile. Yeah. And his daughter was doing the same thing that my daughter was doing not 5 days ago in Kansas City, making an angel in the snow.
Yeah. I saw that. I watched that myself. And I was like, man. And I look at the man and I said, wow. He was strong.
He was. He didn't even cry. Aaron Burnett was crying.
Yeah, he was strong. He was just sitting over there. I'm sure he's still in shock. He hasn't felt it yet. But can you imagine? No, you're not around? I can't. And then you're watching Twitter and you saw your own family lying there on the street. You notice their clothing and and he said, these are my kids. And then he started calling his friends and family and said, my kids are lying in the streets. They got shot. Can you go and help them? Can you go and take them? I mean, are you kidding me? Jeez.
Yeah, I don't get it. All right, let me pivot away from those two heavy subjects. One more question for you, and then we'll get to the rapid fire. So I found this really interesting. During your time in KC, you obviously played for the late, great Marty Schottenheimer. So he came in as a head coach. But listen to this, everybody. So Bill Cowher was your defensive coordinator. Herm Edwards was a scout. Tony Dungy was with the defensive backs. And Bruce Arians was the running backs coach.
Yeah.
Like, what a freaking staff. And if you look at Bruce Arians now, obviously 2 years ago won the Super Bowl and has one of the most diverse staffs in the history of the NFL, not just with people of color, but women.
Yeah.
So, that maybe gives us some hope that, the coaches can do some things to make coordinators, people of color, even if the owners aren't hiring head coaches in that space. But what was it like being on a staff? Did you realize at the time that all those people were going to be who they are now? Amazing.
I didn't realize it, but I knew that they can be because I spoke to them at the time and I asked them, I said, hey, if you get an opportunity to coach, be a head coach, to all of them, they said yes. Yes. And sure enough, they did well. So J. Bill Cowher and Bruce Arians is doing a marvelous. He's one of the best coaches in the NFL right now. So, and here's the man who is a real coach right there, Bruce Arians. He doesn't give it. He doesn't give it.
He doesn't care if you're Tom Brady. He'll let you know.
He don't care. He will hire anybody he wants.
Yep.
And you treat everybody the same. His players love him.
Yeah.
So
that's good to know. Well, we need more white allies like that. Just a little higher up, and hopefully, like you said, things don't take so long to change. It just doesn't make sense. Like, it just doesn't make sense to have more people from more diverse backgrounds with seats at the table because it makes your product better. So from that standpoint, from a business standpoint, I don't understand why there's so much pushback with women and people of color or minorities in general, Latinos and Latinas, why there's such, and I know why, because they want to be around the good old boy network, white boy network, and people that they're comfortable with instead of pushing their boundaries, because it'll end up making things stronger in the end. Okay, thoughts on Patrick Mahomes going forward? Do you think he can win a couple more rings?
I think he can. If he gets help. Right now, he doesn't have any. He doesn't have much help as far as running the ball.
Yeah, because he could end up like Houdini, right, in Seattle, and phenomenal top 5 quarterback, and has no help, and decided to go to Denver.
Yeah,
right, Russell Wilson. So it could end up being the same thing. As mind blowing as that would end up being, it could happen.
Yeah, it's so simple. That AFC Championship game we lost. If he had a running game, he wouldn't have lost that game because everything was put in his hands, and he couldn't do it because they all were expecting him to throw the ball, and they didn't give me the opportunity to throw the ball, knowing that we're not running the ball.
Do you think the NFL is doing a better job in the space of mental health since so many more people are speaking out on it?
They act like they are getting better, but I haven't seen many changes yet.
Is that because every team doesn't have a sports psychologist and a psychologist, and it's not encouraged? It's still, play through injury. Don't speak out if you're having mental illness or you're depressed or you're chemically imbalanced.
Well, it's better today than it was when I was playing. Let me just put it that way, because today, when I played back then, if I had a concussion, nobody would tell me. I wouldn't even know. I get a smelling sauce,
right,
and I go back and play. But today, you are monitored, and you're taken out of the game practices and stuff until your symptoms die down. So that's a huge improvement. You see, so they are getting better.
That's the physical, though. I'm talking more emotional. That's good. That's amazing.
Yeah.
But the emotional side of it, right? Especially in the Black and brown community. I just saw, I don't know if you saw this, but it was with Ryan Clark from ESPN, Channing Crowder, and Freddie Taylor. And he just had Michael Beasley on his podcast. And the way the interview went was just so powerful. They poured into him because they were so incredibly worried about him because of the things that he was sharing about not only his past, but about some of his behavior right now, which scared them. And, as, fellow black men in this space of professional athletics, of professional sports, they let him know that they have a safe space for him to come to, not only on the show at any time, but at their own personal homes, so that he's not sitting in his house and having a weak moment and possibly committing suicide. And it was very powerful. And this guy basically was saying, and he sits in his house all day. He doesn't trust anyone. His mom stole from him. These are things that happen, and the Black and brown community knows better than I do, that it's not talked about still, or something's wrong with you. And it's just something that we need to make sure that we normalize, right? I've had so many people on the show, professional athletes, that have either attempted suicide, almost died, had depression, especially after leaving their professional endeavors. And so we just need to normalize it and make sure everyone knows that they're not alone.
Yeah. Well, they have a lot of programs. NFL has programs right now that deals with all that, and I know because I get mails all the time, giving you some guidelines on dedicated hospitals that you can go to, and so on and so forth. But everybody's still waiting for the day when they will send you a card and say, "This is your insurance card. You can go to any doctor." That you want to get treated by. But that doesn't happen yet. But they are trying. Things are getting better than it was when I played, for sure. But it's not there. It's not there. I don't think it's like NBA or MLB.
Yeah, absolutely. LT or Marshall Falk?
I would say Marshall Falk.
Boy, he was crafty. How about Sweetness or Barry Sanders?
Woo, Barry Sanders. I like Sweetness.
Yeah, of course.
He's a good
but
man.
He's more like you. Sweetness, he was a little bit more downhill and powerful.
Yeah. Barry Sanders is too, but
man, unbelievable. Okay, so Gronk, Antonio, Tony, Travis Kelce, or George Kittle?
Travis Kelce's my man.
Of course. Absolutely. So Marvin Harrison, Jerry Rice, Megatron, Larry Fitzgerald, Steve Largent, or
Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice.
Just stop right there.
Mm-hmm.
So Dave Chappelle or Richard Pryor?
Richard Pryor.
The original. So wait, Chris Rock or Eddie Murphy?
Eddie Murphy.
Delirious is one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. God bless. Anita Baker, Whitney, or Beyonce?
Oh gosh, Whitney. I mean, I like them all, but Whitney. Yeah,
she was one of a kind. So Patrick Mahomes or Matthew Stafford's no-look passes?
Patrick Mahomes.
Come on, now you got to give Matthew some credit for that Super Bowl no-look pass. So that was pretty clutch.
Hey, that's pretty good. He probably learned it from Mahomes.
He probably did. Wait, who's the best player you ever played against?
Woo. I would say Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah, LT. Oh man, he was something.
He was a maniac.
Him and Mike Singletary, those eyes. Yeah. Favorite golfer, because I know you love golf.
Tiger.
Yeah. Did you hear his Hall of Fame comments?
I did. Yeah.
Wow. Interesting, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Favorite TV show of all time?
Oh gosh. Oh gosh. I like the Cosby Show back then.
Yeah, back then that was a great show.
Yeah.
Favorite movie?
Guess who's coming to dinner?
Oh man, that's great. Wait, candy or popcorn at the movies?
Popcorn.
With butter?
With butter, yes.
Oh, that's phenomenal. Vince Lombardi or Bill Belichick?
Vince Lombardi.
I love it.
He didn't cheat.
Right. And he was an ally in a way that was so ahead of his time. Bill Curry told us he didn't care back then if you were anything, that you better treat everyone the right way or you're out of here. I mean, that's right. Just amazing back then.
And all his players loved him, still love him till today. The ones that I met still talk about him, black and white. They talk about him the same.
It's amazing. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Probably fly my own jet. No, just playing.
Hey.
I'm going to be doing my work with my charity, doing a lot of work. I'm planning, hopefully, to build a school in Nigeria for the kids, and I'll continue to affect young kids out there.
Yeah, talk about your foundation, because I wanted to finish with that.
My foundation, which I started working with kids in 1990, and then formed the foundation in 2000. But we started out doing free clinics in the summertime for those kids who cannot afford to go to paid camps. And now I moved that to Nigeria. I hired some folks in Nigeria to work with kids year round, trying to develop them and kind of guide them, teaching them goal setting and focusing on education. And so we do that in Nigeria. We raise money here and then we send money back there to pay for all the stuff they do. And then the other half, I work with the Ontario School District here, kind of, doing the same thing with the kids, go over there and kind of speak to them, doing some free camps for them. And then in Kansas City, during the December time, I take the at-risk kids, I take them shopping for Christmas. So those things, they make me happy. Put smiles on my face when I see those kids happy.
Well, you're putting smiles on their face as well. What an amazing story from little known Azusa Pacific University in Southern California on a track and field scholarship, and would have most certainly been destined for the Hall of Fame if injuries had not derailed your career, but making such an impact in society, not only here in California, but in Nigeria, in your home country. Phenomenal to share some time with you. I'm glad we finally worked it out. Anything I can do for you ever as a connector? I'm not an influencer as of yet, but that's my goal, is to do anything I can as an ally, like I said, to help in these spaces that need more white people to help in these areas. So much love and the utmost respect to you and your journey and your new book. Does it have a title?
Not yet.
Not yet. When do we anticipate it being out?
I hope it comes out this fall. Yeah,
amazing.
During the football season.
Yeah, during the football season. Well, have a great summer. Stay healthy, and I know that you're a dad as well, and that's very important to you. And so, like I said, much love and the utmost respect to you and what you've done before and what you continue to do and what you're going to do going forward. So thanks for sharing space with us. And like I said, I don't know why people come on my show, because no one knows who I am. But it's truly an honor and humbling that people come and share their opinions in our safe space in our anti-racist equality podcast.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and continue doing your work. It's important.
I appreciate it. If you could have one person at your dinner table, who would it be? If you didn't know who they were.
If I didn't know, oh gosh.
One person of all time, dead or alive.
One person, oh gosh, Muhammad Ali.
There it is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Muhammad Ali, phenomenal answer. One of the ultimate activist when it comes to social injustice and systemic racism. Just an amazing interview with him. He was so candid and so generous with his time. Can't thank the Nigerian Nightmare enough for coming into the Sports Deli. Thanks for sharing space with us today. We truly hoped you enjoyed that amazing interview. Remember, everyone, Black Lives Matter. Stop the bullying. Stop the Asian hate. Contact your local and state politicians for any inequalities, for any individual or any group that's being marginalized. Also, everyone, we want to raise awareness for those individuals that are currently imprisoned for non-violent offenses, in particular those with long-term sentences that are disproportionate, in particular to those people in the Black and brown community. And I want to send a shout out to 40tons.co. 40 Tons is a socially conscious cannabis brand, and they're a social enterprise using the regulated cannabis industry to fight injustice, in particular for cannabis prisoners. So check them out again at 40, the number 4, the number 0, tons, plural, 40tons.co. Because what they're doing in the cannabis space and being a socially conscious company is truly incredible. and they have my full support. And also wanted to remind all of you, if you're having a tough time, you can always call the Suicide Prevention Lifeline, and that number is 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255, and they are available 24/7, 365 days a year. You can also always check me out on Twitter, Instagram, and on TikTok at Mike Hootner. Thanks again to our amazing sponsors, Breaking Tea, Sport RX, PSK Collective, City Lokes, and Moolah Kicks, which you can see right here up on the screen. You can search them online at breakingtea.com, sportrx.com, pskcollective.com, moolahkicks.com, and citylokes.com. And if you'd like to support us at the Sports Deli, we'd love to have you either make a one-time donation or feel free to make a donation monthly, either 99 cents a month, $4.99 a month, or $9.99 a month. If you have questions about that, send me an email again to thesportsdeli@gmail.com, and I will send you the link on how you can do that. You can also find it at the bottom of every podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Link at the bottom to support the show. Please check out our website at thesportsdelipodcast.com. Make sure that we continue the conversations with regards to 3 strikes and you're out and mandatory minimums, especially people that are in jail for non-violent offenses. So those things need to change. And remember, gents and ladies, please remember to do your monthly self-breast examinations. And remember, guys, this afflicts about 1,500 men annually, with about a third of those resulting in death. So we want to make sure that we do our monthly self-breast examinations, both men and women. And guys, remember to do your self-testicular examinations every month as well. Until next time, remember, it takes a village. For Dr. J and Coach K, I'm Hootie Hoot. This has been a production of Hootie Hoot Productions. Thank you for joining us in the Sports Deli, where everyone deserves a seat at the table. Remember, it takes a village. Much love, everybody. Peace.